Alright, welcome back. Today we're just going to talk a little bit about cameras. So today I'm just going to talk about 3 out of the 4 cameras that we have. The 4th camera, I'm not going to talk too much about it because I might have to do a separate one just for it alone. It's a little complicated if you don't know the basic math of it. So the main 3 cameras, if you don't know how to use it, is just right click somewhere in the scene, go to create, and go down to cameras, and then we have all the camera options. The one I'm going to talk about now is going to be the dummy, the actor, and the spectator. The Persecutor is a little complicated. I'll talk later about it. So first, let's go to the dummy one. When we go click on the dummy, you'll notice that we have a basic information over here. So the masks are where it'll render, and by default it's already rendered on everything, so we don't really touch those. The Fov mode is basically how perspective and how skewed the view is, and then the listener is if it listens to sound, and the player is if it's going to be the main camera that we look at when we press play. So right now I turned it on, and I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna click player dummy, and that gives me the view that is the player dummy itself. So if I were to press play now, it's gonna show me the exact same screen that we have right here. And when that happens, the player dummy has only one purpose when it's rendered. It's only going to be rendered exactly how it is. So think of a transparent camera that's stuck in the middle of the world and you can't touch it. That's what a player dummy is. And that's the basics of player dummy. You can also add scripts to it to move it around, but there's no collisions on player dummy, meaning it will always phase through objects, and we don't need that when we're playing games. Sometimes you need the camera to hit objects. So let's just remove the main player from it, and we go to the next one, which is we'll do the player spectator first. Now let me just go up here and change it to player spectator, and you'll notice it goes into its own vision. And you'll also, when you go into its node properties, you'll notice it has the same main settings as the dummy, but it has something new. It has a view direction, and it has 2 more options, controlled and collision, and then other than that it has some physics properties. So first things first, let's just move it to a view that we like, and to move the objects, just right click and move around. And let me say I want this object so far. The 2 main options over here with controlled and collisions means that 1, it can be controlled in game, meaning it can be moved around by basic WASD QE commands, and it has collision, meaning it can hit objects that have collisions enabled. So what does that make this camera? It will basically make this camera as a drone. So it could be a transparent drone or an actual drone in the game or in the scene that you're opening, and it will simulate everything properly like that. So if we were to just press play, save and run, so we're gonna be here, we can move around and we can move everywhere. It has its own little settings with the physics. I go down with the Q and E up, and I can't go any more down because collisions are enabled. If I were to remove collisions, then I would fall down into it. So it basically has your general drone properties, and it's good for drone type gaming. Now the last camera, let's just mute it. We'll go to the last camera. That would be the actor camera. So let's just move it to the actor, and now we try to move it. Let's say we try to make it face here, but it's gonna face down to the floor. So the main thing you do with the actor camera is you place it on an area that you want it to put, and it'll automatically just face down. If we go into the options, it has the same main player, which is turned on, and then it has physical and collisions. Collisions is the basic collisions that we've been through with the spectators, but it has something called physical. Now if we were to look at it from the editor camera and we just focus on it, you'll notice physical gave us a little capsule controller, and it gave us a mask, a physical mask, and an intersection mask. So what this actor camera simulates is a first person movement camera. So if I were to press play and I go in and and I click in and I move around, now we have a player. Now Unigine already has a jump. I believe it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So it has its main character movement, and then it has the whole shift to run and just moving around, and now we have a first person camera view. So those are the three basic camera movements for Unigine. Now there's one more camera movement. It's called the Persecutor Camera, but I'm gonna make a little bit more about it because it does get a little tricky if you don't know what you're doing. So that's the basics for the three cameras. We'll see you again next time.